What's up? It's a little weird lighting here, but we're in a beautiful hotel room in a glorious Jacksonville. Hello, everybody. I know it's a little early on the West Coast. So I hope everybody is doing quite well. Let me get everything up and running here. Alien FX, welcome. Abort You, David Wint, Pat Hacker, Cannon Fodder. Hello. I know it's crazy early. I know it's at 8:30 in the morning on the West Coast. I'm drinking some green tea here. My voice is a little raspy, but good day, Stacey Edwards, Taj Marie, West Side, Dana Fairbanks. Yeah, we couldn't really. Is this too bright? I feel like this is too bright. I'm gonna just tone this one down just to here. Feels like it's too. There we go. Well, that's still kind of right in my face a little bit. Right? Yeah. That's a little bit better. This is a little dark and brooding. All right. Well, we'll make this work. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Aggressive Progressive was so awesome. Thank you guys for watching it. It was really cool. You know, Jimmy was busy, and Ron and Steph and Steve-O, everyone, Malcolm, everyone. So it was great to host it, and really cool discussion with Dave Anthony and Lauren Steiner. And you know, it was you know, I love doing that show. It's a lot of fun. I wonder if does this do anything? Kinda. Not really. Anyway, when am I coming to New York City? Well, we're working on that right now. We've locked down a date in June for DC, and that is on my website. So we're trying to build a tour right now. I'll bring that up right here. If I look at if you go to grahamelwood.com. So we're in DC June 12th, and we're looking to do a show. We've got New Haven, Connecticut on the 16th of June. So probably either the 17th or 18th, we're trying to find a theater in New York City. And then what we'll do on that swing is to try to like do Philly, Baltimore, Boston, obviously. We might try to jump up into Vermont and Pennsylvania if we can, but that's the plan. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad the lighting is fine. Yeah. Dank Mosquito. Have I ever been in Thailand? No, but I would love to go there. I'm thinking about next Christmas, like December, even into January. I want to spend it like in Asia. So if we can find, I do shows out there or just hang out. I don't know. If they got good Wi-Fi, I can do this anywhere. So I'll do that. Tajma, you should visit the Research Triangle in North Carolina in either the late spring or late fall before it gets cold. Yeah, we're talking about that. You know, we did Asheville, North Carolina, but it'd be great to do Raleigh, Durham. I love Raleigh, Durham. That's a cool part of the country, and I've had great shows there in the past, and I think the Progressive Tour would do awesome. So yeah, and the shows this week have been fantastic. Last night we were in Jacksonville, and it was a little crazy. We got to the venue. The show was at 8, and we got there a little before 7. We were going to just drop our stuff off and check in, make sure everything's cool, and then go get a bite to eat. No one was there. The club was locked up. And then Christina, who is the promoter, she's a local comic who's done a bunch of great work to set up the show. She shows up and she's like, I don't know what's going on. The owner, he just bought the club only a couple months prior and it just spaced the time apparently. So, you know, there was like 20, 30 people out in the parking lot. Like, and we were like, don't worry, we'll get to it. And everyone rallied and we had the show. It started a little bit late, but it was really fantastic. And everyone's been so great. Orlando was sold out. Miami was sold out. Jacksonville was close to sold out. Gainesville was close to sold out. So it was like, you know, it was awesome. And the people that showed up, it's just been fantastic. So, of course, you can support the show with the super chat icon, or Streamlabs is in the show title. You can go here. I'm sorry, Balthazar 228. I didn't have a chance to figure that thing out. My bad, dude. So your comments on Tulsi announcement running in 2020. She announced this on the Van Jones show. Yeah, so that was big news. Ron and I were literally in the car like a day or two ago when she announced, and I figured we'd be talking a lot about that. Overall, I'm very happy. There's so much about Tulsi that I like. I did a video asking questions about, is she going to be someone that's going to ramp up the war machine? There's so much about her that I like. She's for medical marijuana. She's for on a federal level, or she's for recreational marijuana legalized on a federal level. The first video I ever did about her was when I was in Hawaii, you know, 2 years ago when I first started doing the show, and in March, and I did a story on her wanting to legalize marijuana on a federal level. So she's in favor of Medicare for all, you know, she's in favor of a Green New Deal. The one issue that people bring up, and this was brought up on Aggressive Progressive by Dave Anthony and Lauren Steiner, is the Moby thing. And Ron and I were talking about this. You know, Moby is this guy that is runs this sort of very right-wing extremist Hindu sect, and she's Hindu. And a lot of people, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Samira Khan about this when I did the interview with her. But I think, you know, there's this article that Ron referred me to. I haven't read it yet, in The Intercept, about bringing up, and like, so from my understanding, Modi, yeah, sorry, not Moby, Modi, she was raised this way. So, and so then, like, some people within Muslim community are like, uh-oh, she's just very anti-Muslim. She's going to want to, you know, just ramp up more wars in the Middle East. And she fought for the American military. And I want to do more research on that. I want to have another conversation with Samira Khan, quite honestly. My first instinct, based on what I've read thus far, is it's not as severe as people think. I could be wrong, but it's not as severe as people think. And I'm going to say this flat out. I'm not blindly following anybody. I'm a huge fan of hers, but I'm done jumping on bandwagons. I'm just not going to do it. So I'm going to ask as many tough questions as I have to about somebody. But to be fair here, if she is still very much a part of this Hindu extremism, well, that's a legitimate concern. My sense of it, from what I've read over these last couple of months and what I've seen, is that she was raised that way, and she was far more conservative when she was younger. Which I mean, I've said I was raised Catholic. I don't support the Catholic Church really in any way at all. I'm very critical of the Catholic Church. You know, I remember when I was 18, I thought that being gay was a choice, and why, you know, hey, if they're going to choose to be gay, they got to accept the consequences. And I got into college, and I was taking film classes and theater classes, and was a performer, and met people that were gay who were like, Graham, I didn't choose this. And so my worldview expanded. I mean, we're all victims of our own upbringing. The countries we lived, we're all victims of being American. I mean, anyone here who's watching this who grew up in America, we're victims of being raised to be consumers, highly competitive, you know, me. We're raised to be that way. So the older we get and we expand our worldview, then our views change. Like Cenk is an example. He was a Republican. He was a Republican conservative, and his views have widely expanded. So if that's the only thing they're hanging on her, is that, and she's distanced herself from this guy, and well, he was at her wedding. Well, I mean, hey man, I think Jimmy and Steph Zamorano went to Jen Kirkman's wedding. I mean, I don't know, or she went to their wedding or something. So I mean, who was at whose wedding is like, that doesn't mean that you're going to make, I mean, how much more Muslim extreme, anti-Muslim can this country be anyway? So I don't think that's a legitimate thing, because like, remember they tried to hang that crazy Baptist preacher on Obama, that guy that spewed a lot of kind of hate, and that black preacher, and they tried to say, oh, that's Obama, and they tried to scare white people that Obama's going to just have this crazy, black agenda. That was not the problem with Obama's presidency. The problem with Obama's presidency was he was a corporatist, that he took us from 2 wars to 7, that he bailed out the banks and didn't prosecute them. So to me, that's not an issue to be concerned with Tulsi, in my opinion. I could be wrong, and I'll gladly change. If more evidence comes up, I'll gladly change my mind on that. But right now, my concern is just the video that I did, looking at her website, her language on her website, makes me go, gee, I don't know. Because and the thing is, and this is, I guess, just maybe some of you are willing to take the leap of faith. Maybe I need to, I don't know. It's going to be a long primary season. We'll see. But I'm just worried that anyone that talks big progressive game, they get into power at some capacity, and then the military industrial complex sits them down and goes, come here. Yeah, enough of that hippie anti-war nonsense. It's time to war it up. And false flags and gas attacks. But I mean, look at her. She spoke out against us attacking Syria. She went to Syria, and then she was called an Assad apologist. So I think it's legitimate questions to have. Overall, I think she's a great candidate, and I think she's someone that they're going to try to jam Kamala Harris down our throat. And she'll do great against Kamala Harris, and she would kick Trump's ass in a debate. She just beats Trump left and right. She'll show Trump to the right of who he really is, which is a spoiled rich kid that doesn't care about the working class. She's a military vet. He's a draft dodger. She'll kick his ass on that stuff. So, but that's the thing. That's what we're here for, man. Do our own research, bring our own information and facts, and make our own decisions. Elizabeth Warren's going to run. Kamala Harris is going to run. I mean, Beto might run. Biden might run. So it's a fair question. Thanks for supporting the show, guys. That's really cool. Ian James Chapman, I was more pro-Tulsi until I started reading her campaign website. Okay. Well, this is interesting. Joseph Sakata, did you see the Tulsi Gabbard's comments from 2014 where she is asked about the CIA torture report, and Tulsi responds that she feels conflicted and proceeds to show an openness to torture? See, that's a legitimate thing. And maybe it's, she joined the military probably with a very gung-ho, we got to stop terrorism and we're going to go over there. And, she probably had to kill people and saw awful terrorist acts, and then saw also that maybe she came out that, what are we doing? She goes, I don't want to do another regime change war. I mean, look at Mike Preisner, Abby Martin's producer and, co-producer on the Empire Files. He said he joined the Iraq war to go over there, 9/11, and we're going to fight terrorists. And so I understand that conflict. And I also applaud her for saying I'm conflicted. I'm so sick of these politicians. I'm going to take a stand. And I'm like, well, so you're not human? I mean, she's probably conflicted in the sense that she saw friends of hers get shot and killed by terrorists. Maybe there were some examples she heard of where, they tortured some dude or interrogated him and got good information. I don't support torture. I don't think it's a good thing. But I understand that if she's conflicted, and I give her credit for admitting she's conflicted. I would love a leader that could admit they're conflicted. I would love a leader that could say, I made a mistake, or I got it, that wasn't right, or something. I would love to see a leadership just admit, I don't know, maybe I'm not sure. We got to get a group of really smart people and figure this out. So but it's good to bring up, man. We got to bring this up. Good point. Aljit, if she was anti-Islam, she would have voted for Hillary or for HR 11. That's a good point. That's the thing. I think we all can evolve as people, and that's what being a progressive is truly about, is we evolve. Look, when I first went to Afghanistan as a comedian in 2004, I was conflicted there. Part of me was like, I'm against war. I don't like this, but I don't know, you know, Osama bin Laden, maybe we should be here. There are terrorists. I hear soldiers telling me they're protecting girls' schools because the Taliban is shooting rockets at girls' schools. It's hard to not be like, well, fuck them. They're shooting rockets at girls' schools. It's not to be like, these guys are assholes. And what else are they going to respond to other than force? I had those thoughts. I ultimately feel like if we poured all this money, billions of hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars into infrastructure, like China has done, we went to Afghanistan and we built schools and hospitals and roads and water purification and solar power and wind turbines. Like, we could be the #1 manufacturers of wind and solar and sell it around the world. And, you know, American companies could go to the Middle East and set it up where they have ample amounts of sun. So Pat Hacker brings up a good point. I can't believe religion is being her religion's being brought up. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's a good point. Rhombus isotope. The other problem with torture is just whose definition is being used. There's also a lot of examples of torture. I mean, you really start torturing somebody, they'll tell you anything. If I'm sleep deprived and I'm tortured and I'm hungry and I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Yeah, man, I killed Jimmy Hoffa. I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. You know, I mean, you take my surfboard and yoga mat away from me, I'll probably tell you whatever you want to hear. So Cannon Fodder, Wendy and Kaylee say, hey, what's up, baby Podfest? Taliban created by the CIA against the USSR. Yeah, I know. China has solar panels that look like Mickey Mouse from the top view. That's good. Alien Effects, we shouldn't be anywhere. U.S. has killed 20 million in 50 years. We are the biggest terrorists around, but since we are the victors, we write the narrative with our bought-off corporate media. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think that's the other thing, going back to the Modi criticisms of Tulsi, part of me feels like, is this the deep state war machine going, well, we got to smear her with this. This will make the left not want to support her, you know, because they got to divide the left, you know. And so anytime anybody starts talking peace and no war and pulling out, then it's like, we got to attack them on some other thing. That's what the Modi thing feels like to me. Like, let's make her seem like she's some extremist wingnut because she might come in and shut down the war machine, you know, which I hope that's what she does. Right. Graham's weakness is a good wave. It is. I'm telling you, man. If somebody's like, Graham, here's $1 million a year to just like live in Hawaii and go surfing, you can't talk about politics anymore, and you just got to do a show talking about how great war is, I'd be like, man, I could do that. I don't know. Just be the biggest sellout ever. Abort you. It's hard to tell if she's anti-war or just talking. And here's a good point. Vaquero Supreme. As long as your religion is not one of the species of white Christian religions, it'll be questioned. Yeah, that's, again, I think you bring up you guys bring up two good points. The main thing, is she really anti-war or just talking? Is she going to go in there and really change things and get an anti-war cabinet and really push Congress and the Senate to just, let's pull out. What are we doing? Let's pull out. Let's give more humanitarian aid to these countries and turn America into the benevolent country that it is. My fear is then we'll have an attack and she'll go, oh, I have to respond. I mean, look at Trump. For all his ridiculous racist, sexist bullshit, he ran on an anti-interventionist campaign. He ran on that. And then he gives this, oh, I saw that gas attack footage in, you know, in April of 2017 and we had to. Like, is she going to do that? That's my biggest fear. But you bring up the religion. That's the thing. I really question the Modi thing. It just feels like the powerful being threatened by her, because she could mobilize she could mobilize the right and the left. I mean, in the Samira Khan interview I did, Samira brought up this political poll that said 70-some% of Republicans are in favor of pulling out of Syria and 70-some% are in favor of pulling out of Afghanistan. And it's like 40-some% Democrats for Afghanistan and 20-some% are in favor of pulling out of Syria for Democrats. So that's the thing. Anytime, this is why you got to take the Modi things with a grain of salt, because anytime someone can potentially unify the right and the left, that is the biggest threat to the ruling class. That's the biggest threat. So if Tulsi represents that, which I think she does, if she's true to her word about she doesn't want to do ridiculous, she wants to pull out and doesn't want to do regime change war, then you can see why the ruling class would put a target on her. I mean, that's when Howard Dean attacked her for saying she's a, you know, Assad apologist. Carrie Holder, Operation Enduring Freedom was an operation to take heroin from Afghanistan and put it in our streets. We didn't blow up the heroin like we do to the people. Yeah. I mean, we tried to say the thing to the farmers, they can't grow it anymore. But then we didn't really give them any other crops to grow. We could have all put them to work on solar fields. Joseph Sakata, I wish we could just talk about candidates and their record, both good and bad, without seeing others claim that we were attacking their candidate. Yeah. Chris Gritton, do you favor Tulsi over Bernie? That's a great question. I think if Bernie were to run, I would go for Bernie first, just because he's proven there's so much about what Bernie has done that I agree with. I would love to see a Bernie Tulsi ticket, but the two of them met, and Ron and I were talking about this. And I bet you Bernie said, look, I don't want to go through a presidential run again. You run for president. And if you're going to get the nomination, I'll be your VP, which if she announced that, then we would all probably join her. I know I would. That would be a done deal. Lateef Smith saw the show last night. Great time. Wonderful show. Thanks for coming out. Everyone who came out to all the shows, man, you guys were so great. Make Gotham great again for sure. Cannon fodder. Our president has to understand that you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. That's a good point. Yeah, they trolled Afghan farmers. They couldn't grow cotton because it would impact American farmers. Yeah, that's just the globalization is just ridiculous. Yeah. A dingo ate my baby. Sanders Tulsi for 8 years, then Tulsi AOC for the next 8. That's a good plan. Bernie did inspire Tulsi. You're for Tulsi? Good. Yeah, a lot of people are for Tulsi. And I get it, man. I think she's not Kamala Harris. That is for sure. Cotton is too water intensive for Afghanistan. Valid point. Sanders is more effective in Senate than VP if he doesn't run for Dem nomination. Yeah. He's also 78. I mean, look, the guy might go, look, man, the energy to run a campaign and then to be president, I might not have it anymore. I don't know. That's a legitimate thing. I mean, God, I can't imagine. Yeah, she stood up in the 26th. Tulsi stood up in the Democratic primary. Yeah, it does seem like Bernie is doing things to make him seem like he's going to run. But Bernie also has a lot of influence. If he just flat out said, I back Tulsi Gabbard to be president, he would get a lot of, she would get a lot of votes that way. Maddie Zubyik. Thank you, Maddie, for supporting the show. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. Great way to support the show is the super chat icon, or you can go, I'll check the Streamlabs right here. Streamlabs. I'm sorry, Balthazar 2 I didn't figure out how to integrate it. I'm sorry. I've been on the road. It's been kind of crazy. And then, you know, it's been a lot. And then of course there's the PO box. So that's all been really cool. But thank you, Maddie Zibik. Zibik, am I pronouncing it correctly? I hope so. Sorry, you know, I'm not great with names. Graham Alward. I think that's my name. I don't know how to pronounce my own name. So, you know, don't kill the messenger. Yeah, and thank all of you guys for the support on my Me Too story. That was really awesome. That was a really cool thing. And I just want to say a lot of you have direct messaged me either through Facebook or on my website and everything. And I've gotten so many emails, so supportive. It's been so great. So I haven't, these emails, a lot of times people, you're like sharing stories with me and stuff, which I so appreciate. And if you're sharing it with me, good for you. And if I'm the first person you're ever sharing it with, that's really good. Just know I want to take the time to read and respond to each one of those emails and give it the time it deserves. So just be patient with me because there's a lot of emails I need to respond to, but I will respond to each one of them. So thank you for that. That's been really cool. Where are we at here? When we get full pot legalization, we could pay Afghan farmers to grow pot instead of opium. Yeah, well, Tulsi Gabbard is in favor, as I said at the top of this, of legalizing pot on a federal level, recreational marijuana, which would be great. Matthew Pitt Warren, the vulture capitalist. Yeah, I don't support Liz Warren at all. Stephen Lieben, Graham, good on you for connecting to us. Peeps, thoughts about Trump's government shutdown because of no funding for the wall. God. Well, it's really it shows how crazy Trump and the Republican Party is. That then they do this, you know. But it's like really going to call out the Democrats. If you guys are so resist, if you make a deal to let this wall happen, you're so offensive and wrong. I mean, and it's you know, Trump's trying to make it seem like it's the Democrats' fault that the government shut down, but he won't, you know. I think the wall is offensive. I think it's what we've done to people that are just trying to get a better life. They're fleeing awful situations that we've helped create either through the CIA or just being consumers of drugs through the drug cartels. And then we send soldiers down there. Children have died. We're tear gassing. We're shooting tear gas over into Mexico. Like, what the hell are we doing? It's offensive and it's awful and it doesn't make America safer. Deposing democratically elected leaders makes America unsafe. That's what makes America unsafe. People want to stay where they live, you know? They don't want to leave their homes. And when the CIA, that's all we've done all over the world, especially Central and South America. That's all we've done is just depose democratically elected leaders. We back some horrifying coup that ruins people's lives, that kills innocent civilians, and then they have to leave. And where do they come? They want to come to America. And we chastise poor people that want a better life for them and their children. And they're all a caravan of rapists. No, they're regular people that want their lives are being blown up. So fuck Trump and his wall. And the Democrats buckle on this. They're the worst shitheads ever. That's my thought on that. Francis Dion, thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles for justice. Thanks for all your hard work, Graham. You're the man. You're the man. Boom. Let's check the Streamlabs, ladies and gentlemen. Why is this? Okay. Where are you at? Dan Harris, that wall is driving a stake into the heart of national discourse. The Democrats fight with one hand tied behind their back. Yeah, that's what they do. I think the Democrats are wise enough, as much of like the little weaselly opportunists that they are, to know that if they let this wall happen, people are going to bail on them like wholesale. Wholesale. They made a deal. Fuck them. So I'm glad Shave the Nipples or Tux makes you laugh every time. Yeah, don't forget, Austin Zappa said, don't forget to hit the like button. We got 85 people watching. Everybody, the more likes you hit, all that stuff helps. Great free ways to support the show. Watch the videos, play all the way through. When you watch the regular videos, don't click skip ad. Even if you open up a separate, Jesus, I'm tired from doing all these shows, a separate browser window and just let the ads play on one and then just click skip ad on the other. Yeah, we want tuition-free public colleges and universities. Who's going to pay for it? Wall Street. Damn right. Yeah, Lateef Smith, uphold the law and hold the companies who hire undocumented workers accountable. That's another thing that's so offensive. These big Republican CEOs, they're profiting from undocumented workers because they don't want to pay real wages. Jefferson Free Press. Jimmy Dore hit on this yesterday. If Trump wanted a wall, he would have done it when he controlled the House and Senate. He's stroking his people, yeah. Chris Gritton, are you and Ron ever coming to Canada? We're talking about doing a Northwest run where we would go like Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver. And I don't know, maybe we'll try to, maybe if we did try to get to Toronto, I don't know. But definitely if we're trying to make Vancouver happen, when we go to Seattle and Portland, we'll definitely hit up Vancouver. I don't know if that's where you live, but the Democrats need to pick a base and not try to make everyone happy. The Republicans are laser focused on their base, and it seems to be working for them. Yeah, well, because the Democrats have no ideology at all. Trump says he wants to pull out of Syria and Afghanistan, and the Democrats are just anti-Trump. So they're not even anti-war. They're in favor of war. All of a sudden, everyone's a goddamn expert on the Kurds and an exit strategy. Exit strategy? We've been there for 17 years in Afghanistan. How about we pull out and we can debate what humanitarian ways we want to help? But the war's over. We're done. We can help. We can, again, there's so many things here. If we legalize marijuana on a federal level, then we can let them grow it in Afghanistan. Like we can, let them grow cotton. I mean, like whatever. We can find crops that work in that environment. If we're doing a Green New Deal, we can have them working in wind turbines, and we can put all that all throughout the Middle East and Africa and all these places that are just drenched. The whole world's drenched in sun. I mean, what the hell? When are we coming to Boston during the East Coast tour in June? Yeah, that's why you voted for Jill. Me too. Yeah, Carrie Holder. I think the wall is to keep us in. Gina Kelton. The Dem leaders do stroke their base, their donors. That's all they care about. The rest is theater. Yeah. Laura H. What does Tulsi say about Julian? That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Bluebell 51. I had this convo with someone the other day. I'm happy that Trump has said he's going to pull out, and he was told, but why is he doing it? It's so insane to me. It's like we're so indoctrinated that just war is all the time. Like George Orwell's 1984, that when someone says we need to stop war, people are like, huh, what? And I posted on Twitter, war is an addiction. And like any addict, when you take away the thing that they get high on, they'll flip out and say and do anything to keep it going. And the main addiction is the money from it. First last, thank you for supporting the show. £2. Shave the knuckles. Boom. Shave them for justice. Makes no sense. I love doing it. I love things that make no sense. Oh, always makes me happy. No sense things. Also, don't forget, guys, to subscribe to the show if you haven't, because YouTube has unsubscribed people. My subscriptions have gone way up, which is great. Yeah, Bluebell 51. To quote Chris Hedges, war is a force that gives us meaning. We're always in some war. But because we don't have wars on our soil, well, we do have anyone with a gun can just turn anywhere we want into a war zone, you know. But we don't really know what it's like to have things bombed out and rocketed and refugee. It's just nuts. Yeah, Rob said, and Hillary was all she was. If Hillary was a president, we'd be at war with Iran, and the left would be going along with it. Yeah, Hillary, strong feminist leader. Like what? War? And then they just use identity politics to justify. It's just insane. It's insane. Where is the anti-war movement? Where is the anti-war movement? Have I checked out the Kaiser report yet? No, I'm sorry. I haven't had a chance to check that out. Yeah, War's a Racket, General Smedley Butler. General Smedley Butler. We talked about that book a lot, War's a Racket. If you haven't read it, go read it. There's also just great quotes of his online. That guy, you know, why don't we study him in school? Why don't we study Eugene Debs in school? Why don't we study Fred Hampton in school? Do you know what I'm saying? Why don't we study the Dunn sisters I was just told about by Kat B, one of our listeners here? These two Native American women that have fought so hard against the federal government for all these land law and all this stuff. There's, you know, the federal government has screwed over so many Native American tribes, taken their land, all this stuff. Why don't we study them? Why don't we know about them? So, Kat, might be too early for you if you're on the West Coast, but thank you for telling me about your great aunts. We'll talk about them more. Matthew Sevilla, how's the progressive tour going? It is fantastic. We had so much fun. We met so many cool people. Meeting Tim Canova in Miami was awesome. He was at the show. He's sitting there just to the right of the stage, and he's laughing. He's a cool dude. I got his info, so I'm gonna reach out to him, and I'm gonna have him on. You know, I'm gonna do a Skype interview with him. Met his campaign manager. You know, that guy was just so solid. He came out, shook hands, talked to everybody, took photos with us. The coolest guy. And, you know, Nico House was at the show in Miami, which was awesome. We had Movement for a People's Party at a bunch of the shows. We had the Democratic Socialists of America at the show last night in Jacksonville. So it's just been awesome. And all of you guys that come to the shows, it's so great. And the stories that you tell us, and, you know, it's everyone from all these different walks of life. It's just amazing. And different ages, different ethnicities, different everything. Everybody's different. I mean, it just shows you how unifying the anti-war, pro-worker message is. Everyone wants that. Everyone wants good jobs and healthcare and to take care of their families, and no one wants to go to war. Only sociopaths, either sociopaths or profiteers, want to go to war. You know, the 1%. I have not watched Fahrenheit 11/9 yet, but I would like to check that. Yes, we have. Woke Media talked about Gabbard running for 2020. War is only a cowardly escape from the problems of peace. So that's a great quote. We got to check out of the hotel at 1, so I might have to end this a little earlier, just so you know. You're right. The 1% doesn't want to go to war. They want other people to go to war. Well, they want you and I to go to war. They want us to go to war. And then they get to profit from it. I'm telling you, if I was president, I would run on this campaign. I would say every member of the president's family, the cabinet, every member of the House and Senate, and every CEO from every defense manufacturer, and the generals, and everyone at the high-level people in the Pentagon, all of their children would have to join as enlistees. And like the Marines, they don't get to go to officer school or West Point. No. They're enlistees. They got to fight. They got to get in a Humvee and they got to go to battle. That's what they got to do. When everyone's kids, all the 1%ers' kids have to go fight, then things will change. Then things will change. Yeah. No, 89. A military industrial complex holds controlling shares in the 6 media companies. Not surprising at all. Ralph Nader Chomsky opened my eyes. Vote for candidates that most match my convictions, but I wish ranked choice voting was everywhere so the voter shaming and political bigotry would end. Yeah, you're right. But I think, yeah, I mean, that was for me too, was like, I voted for Jill Stein because I was like, I'm voting for the person. I'm not voting for someone I don't believe in anymore. I'll either write someone in or just not vote for that particular office. I'm not going to vote for someone I don't believe in. So, you know, when people say, oh, Hillary was the most qualified candidate, I said, no, there was 4 candidates running: Gary Johnson, Jill, Trump, Hillary. Jill Stein was the most qualified. That's who I voted for. She was the most qualified. So, yeah, Bezos has ties with the CIA. 3 military accounting buildings hit on 9/11. Wow. Who was brave enough to stand up to the deep state? Jesse? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Jesse's going to run. God created war so that Americans could learn geography. Mark Twain. That's funny. Can't see Hillary's kid in war zone like mommy. Sure, the story would be as exaggerated, though. Yeah. The law should be you cannot trade bombs and bullets on the stock market. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, every TSA worker should go on strike. That would definitely stop the shutdown. Yellow vest. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Look, some of you are federal employees who've been furloughed, and you got to, you know, one of you told me you had to take a substitute teaching gig to pay for your bills because, you know, I'm telling you, we need shutdowns. It's nonviolent, peaceful resistance is what it's going to take. I'm not in favor of violent protest because it always just goes bad. Rarely has it actually, in the long run, been a benefit. It usually just gets evil and sadistic, and I don't like it. Violence begets more violence. So check out the book American Deep State by Peter Dale Scott. I have a Goodreads. Sign up for Goodreads. We'll discuss books there. Nonviolent direct action now. Absolutely. The FAA brought back 3,000 TSA agents, but won't say the details. My guess is come back without pay or else. Yeah. Yeah, we all need big emergency savings. That's the thing that's true. It's tough. It's like, you know, go on strike, but then how do you pay your bills during that time? But maybe a total general strike, like everybody says no, you know? That's crazy. Don't just shut it down. Walk out and march to the Capitol. Yeah. All right. Imagination is the only weapon in the war against reality. Lewis Carroll. Okay, cool. Disgruntled veteran, perhaps mass non-filing of federal taxes would do something. Yeah, I know. Yep, they got a blank check and unlimited wars after 9/11, and where everyone is living paycheck to paycheck. Absolutely, man. I live gig to gig. You know. 80% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. Yellow Vest movement is spreading to London now as well. Do you think the U.S. will take to the streets once things are big enough in Europe? I think so. I mean, there's already people organizing Yellow Vest stuff here in the States, and like, I mean, one of the guys in Miami that was there with the Movement for the People's Party, he showed up with a yellow vest on. It was kind of cool. I got to give the Movement to a People's Party, man. They are organized. Just about every city we're in, they show up. They have a table. They're getting signatures. They're handing out information. They're getting people involved. And that's the thing. That's the thing is I think it's a way for people. It's a rally cry. People are here, are seeing what's happening in France, and now it's spreading throughout Europe. And it's like, man, we got to do that. Now, it's the thing Jimmy's talked about, which is a valid point, but and I don't say this to discourage people. I'm just pointing this out. Is, you know, in France they have free healthcare, so they can walk off a job. In America, if you quit your job or go on strike, you might lose your healthcare, and maybe you need that. So there's just a lot of ways we need to do nonviolent resistance, you know. And I think the Yellow Vest movement can get organized and spread here, you know. It's cool that that's organizing. Oh, Poland's here. What's up, Polska? I don't know any Polish. I'm sorry. Let me read this question. This looks like Dave Galise. Hey Graham, what do you think of the Yellow Vest activists urging people to divest from the banks and empty their bank accounts? Look, man, I'm so for that stuff. It's why I wish the public bank thing would have passed in LA, and hopefully we'll get it on the next election and pass it eventually. Some things take time. Look, legalized marijuana took several ballots to pass in California. I'm in favor of that because the banks control everything. They control everything. They control the wars, and they make the debt. The big part of war, the big profit is the debt that happens from war. Excuse me. So I think it's great. Moving your money to a credit union instead of a big bank, I think is a fine idea. I think it's great. I moved my IRA to a credit union. So I think it's something that's how you resist. That's what you do. That to me is more powerful than going on a march on a Saturday. Marches and stuff are decent, but like we got to stop marching on Saturday. We got to shut stuff down. And that's something you can do. Just move your money to a credit union or a non-for-profit bank. They're out there. They're out there, you know, and that'll do it. That'll do it, you know. Cryptocurrency, whatever it is, man, get out of the big banks. If you can do it, get out of the big banks. I still have to keep my business accounts at Wells Fargo, which I do not like because I can't seem to find a credit union that handles business accounts in the ways that I need them because of my production company. But if I can, I will. So, yeah, man, I think that's a great solution. I say this all the time on the show, vote with your dollars. That's one way to do it. Look, these big banks are seeing it. They're feeling there's tens and hundreds of millions of dollars have been divested. They're seeing that. They know it. They track their numbers. Nobody tracks their numbers more than a bank. And then when they see people divest, they go, "Ooh, shit, I'm going to do something about that." I have not talked about Whoopi Goldberg trashing AOC. It was truly disgusting. It's not surprising. I mean, that's what I have not seen it. I don't know. So I'm only going off of what you're saying. But look, man, I saw Jen Kirkman post a photo of AOC with Susan Sarandon. And she said, "This is problematic," and pointed down to us. Like, are you out of your mind? AOC is everything you claim to be as a feminist. She's smart. She's outspoken. She's fighting for working class people. She's fighting for women. And now she's being smeared. Who's smearing her? Rich ladies. Rich women who are benefiting from corporate media. Whoopi Goldberg is a millionaire 10 times over because of corporate media. Of course she's going to smack. She works for network TV. Some network TV producer probably pulled Whoopi aside and said, you know, of course she's going to go after AOC. It's just ridiculous. And like, who cares what old rich people think? You know? All right, what other questions have we got? Don't forget, guys, you can support the show with the super chat icon. You can also go to Streamlabs. If you do Streamlabs, it goes through PayPal. Options. I don't know what spin the wheel settings is. All right. Key Dan, 9 weeks of complete close down all over France, 8,000 police deployed, 24/7 attacks and sabotage during the week the French state is dying on its feet. Wow. That's crazy. Francis Dion, thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles for justice. Boom. Look at those shaved knuckles. Capitalism, USA's largest problem. Do you agree? Oh, you godless socialist. No, it's I mean, Francis, that's a great point, because if you really get to the root of it, it's all this toxic, complete, unregulated, unrestricted capitalism that is just a huge problem. I mean, capitalism is why we don't have good schools. It's why we don't have free healthcare and free college tuition, because capitalists don't want people educated to realize how broken the system is. Capitalism pits us against each other so that we don't get together and unify against the ruling class. That's what it's for. You know, capitalism, we have to fight for each other for jobs. You and I gotta compete with each other for a job, and I gotta beat you for the promotion and all this stuff. And then we're told to just be consumers. I mean, I did that video Christmas Day mocking, you know, Christmas should be about whatever, your spirituality, getting together with friends and family, whatever noble reasons you want to have it. But so much it's just about, you got to buy more stuff. And so capitalism is why we have for-profit doctors who have to make a profit rather than do what's best for the patient. It's why we have a political system that is completely bought and paid for. It's why we don't have real journalism. The corporate media. It's interesting. Talking to Samira Khan, she was like, look, state media is a little more honest in terms of it trying to show both sides versus corporate media, which is just for the profit. That's it. First, last, thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles. Extreme capitalism is the problem. Yeah. First, last, and you and Francis Dion bring up that it is capitalism. Unregulated capitalism is just out of control. It's out of control. And I talk about this a lot, but in the 50s and 60s in America, when everyone talks about how great it was, well, guess what? That was the most highly regulated time in the world. And it was the highest tax rate and the highest union membership. Beatrice Pierre, shave the knuckles for justice. Need to see like-dislike ratio on CNN Bernie smear. Yeah, of course. Beatrice, that's, and we're going to see, look, if Tulsi's really true to her word of being anti-war, believe me, they're going to go after, they already went after her a year ago when she was talking about why are we bombing Syria? So, I mean, these networks, you know, when Trump just gave this speech, these networks that help Trump get to power by giving him all this free ad time, all this during the 2016 campaign. And then they're like, he can't just say whatever. I mean, they helped create this idiot. Them and the Democrats helped create this idiot. David Wint, thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles, dude. Hope you'll please spread the word about the Extinction Rebellion. First day of action in the U.S. is January 26th. Find your local Extinction Rebellion group. Peace out. Oh, awesome. Thank you, David, for supporting the show. So go look that up. Google, sorry, don't use them. Search engine, Extinction Rebellion. And the first day of action is January 26th. That's great. We got to start that here. We got to say that the planet is falling apart and not mince words. There's new reports. Somebody just sent me a new report that it's even less than 12 years. It's like 5 to 7 years. It's like the oceans are going to completely just be dead in less than 10 years. It's insane. We have to do something about this. So David Wint, thank you for supporting the show. And everybody out there, do some research and find out if there is a Extinction Rebellion group in your area for the first day of action, January 26th in the United States. Thanks, David. Natural Progressive Chris, what's up? Shave the knuckles for justice. Check out the hashtag yes to RAC, a citizens referendum. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I will. I'm going to check it out right now. Chris, what do you think of that? This is happening real time. Bravo, babo. Let's go look at this right now. Yes to RIC. Referendum initiated by the citizens. All right. Cool. Referendum initiated by the citizens. I'm down. Right on. Right on. Thank you. And check out Natural Progressive, guys. It's a cool show. She's got a lot of good information. Rick O'Brien, Tulsi said India is a Hindu state. Well, isn't it? I mean, we're a Christian state. Pakistan is a Muslim state. Is that a bad thing? Maybe I'm wrong. Need to get money out of politics because this issue affects all other issues. Yeah, I see that. I mean, I think the environment is the biggest issue. How to address it, I realize that like money in politics and election reform, if we can fix those, then we can really get stuff done. If we can get a real progressive in the White House who just pushes a Green New Deal, then all these other things can be fixed too. I say attack all of the problems anywhere that we can. We don't have to just pick one. That's my thing. Death of a thousand cuts. We all start divesting our money from the big banks. You know, we all get more involved. We all join organizations like Movement for a People's Party and the DSA, right? Green Party. We start getting involved more, right? We pay attention to what's happening in our local elections. We vote with our dollars. We support businesses and products that are in line with our stuff, and we don't support the big corporations. We don't support war. That's why I bought an electric car. I just was like, I can't support the oil industry anymore. I can't do it. All these little things that all of us can do make a difference. Check out the Yes to RIC. Check out the Extinction Rebellion, you know? Austin Zappas, I need a future to believe in, and Star Trek is a great example. Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up watching Star Trek, and they always talked about the late 20th century, the Earth was on the brink of extinction, and they rallied, and they got it done. Jefferson Free Press, right on your money, hashtag free Assange. That's cool. Purple Nurple. I saw a corporate headline calling Tulsi Assad's favorite, so she must be anti-war. Yeah. See, that's right there why I want to vote for her. The fact that the war machine is threatened by her makes me want to vote for her. JCal, Californian and LA Credit Union, check them out. All right, good credit unions to know. Thank you. All right, Rick O'Brien posted that link. You can't vote with your dollars if you have to penny pinch like crazy. Catalytic Center. That's I see that point. I know it's like Walmart is cheaper, so you have to shop there because the mom and pop store is way too expensive. I get that. I think there's places to do that, to vote with your dollars where you can. I understand if you got a penny pinch. Believe me, I got to be in that situation too. But every little thing counts. You know, every little point, every little thing counts. Every little dollar, every little penny, any place you can do it. It's a small little victory. It's a small little stab at the ruling class wherever you can. I get it. I get it. I've been there. $800 in my checking account and $1,500 worth of bills. What do I do? What do I pay for? What do I cut? What do I not get? I get it. There's little places where you can do it. Little things. Leave your car at home one day a week. You know, don't eat meat one day a week. Little things like that. Little support here, little support there. Don't spend money where you don't have to, like cut your cable. Don't support the big ugly telecom, companies, like whatever, wherever you can do it. Wherever you can do it. And don't beat yourself up if you can't do it to the degree that we all wish we could just live in a commune and shit, man. I wish I could do that. I do agree we need more voting, not less. I'm not down with voter shaming, but I think one of the reasons why there's several reasons there's low voter turnout. We're not encouraged to vote. It's but as I did the Congress is proposing this huge election reform, and one of them is making it a national holiday. So, Matthew Sevilla, Jimmy Dore made the comment on his live show that if we do get a Bernie Sanders for president, that's when the Democrats will start a third party and will be even further to the right. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Rice, lentils, and beans equals cheap and healthy. Sinead, what's up? Thank you. Voting works a little bit. I agree. I'm not saying voting is the final, the best option, but as I say, we got to do a million little things. There's not one action that's going to change it all. So, like, yeah, I vote. Yes, I vote with my dollars. I try to look where I spend my money. Yes, I try to support causes and things I believe in. And that's what we can do. Jana Kelton, let me read this one. Nader's interview with Dore about effective activism was great. Got to treat it like your hobby and invest time with a group of friends to keep visiting your local politicians with purpose and research. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and it's also a great way. I mean, a lot of it, at the show last night, a woman spoke up and she was like, I showed up here alone and I didn't know if there's only going to be 3 people here. And she was so pumped up that there was a lot of people. And I think that's part of it too. If you feel isolated, just as a progressive, and maybe you're shy or whatever, join go to the Movement for a People's Party meetings, meet other like-minded people. It's also to socialize you. And then you hang out with people that are cool, that you like and agree with and have good discussions with. And then there's you feel better about yourself socially. Like when I go do Jimmy's show and I just hang out with him and Steph and Arno and everybody, I just feel better. When we do the live shows and I'm on panel and meet people like Steve O and Cenk and Abby Martin and Mike Pricer, I just feel better. Like, yeah, I'm not crazy. And that's what it's good for your mental well-being, mind, body, spirit, because we can feel, it's crazy times right now and people make us feel nuts for just wanting anti-war. Democrats are now for war. Our neoliberal friends are like, wow, we got to have more war. Like, what? It's crazy. Is democracy dead or alive? Yellow Vest in 2019. It's barely alive. Thumbs up or bust. 93 watching. Thumbs up. Boom, boom, boom. It's democracy. That's funny. Yeah, disgruntled veteran. And whatever you do, people, if you care anything about yourself, do not join the military. Thanks for sharing that, man. Jana Kelton. So that's another great reason with 10 grams live shows, meet and organize with other like-minded progressives. That's the whole point, guys. So all these people last night got to know each other, and they got to get involved with the Movement for the People's Party in their local, in Jacksonville, Florida, which is not a very progressive city. So these progressives in Jacksonville feel so alone and isolated. It's like, no, I went to the show. I met these comics and these people. I met Movement. I met DSA. And the DSA is all like young millennials, like, you know, teenage to early 20s. Like, good for them, man. Everyone's always shitting on millennials. It's like millennials are fucking getting involved. They have to, because the world's going to be dead by the time they're 60. You know, like shit. And you know, people are laughing, getting to know each other, hanging out, connecting on social media. You know, that's what I want, is a progressive community of people that want, and it's all these different people. It's not all like hippie crystal types, which is fine, but it's like working class people. I mean, like, you know, Dave Anthony was telling me when we were doing Aggressive Progressive that when he does his show, The Dollop, which is very socialist, he talks about history and, you know, he's had like lifelong Republican conservatives switch over to socialism after listening to his show. That's what you do when you talk to the Trump people. Say, yeah, we need to address the working class, and neither party has done it. Trump says he is, but he isn't. So it's a great point. Grow your own food is a good idea. Vermont Brett Smith tour has been great. Don't forget, so I will be headlining. It's not Progressive Comedy Tour. Ron won't be with me, but I'm headlining the end of February in St. Charles, Illinois, downtown Chicago, and Rosemont. Go to grahamelwood.com. And then in March, Ron and I are going to Lafayette, Louisiana, March 10th, Oxford, Mississippi, March 11th, Pensacola, Florida, March 12th, and New Orleans, March 13th. So check that out. In April, we are going to Texas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. That is April 12 through 15. May, we are going to Salt Lake City, the 11th and 12th of May. The 12th, the 11th is a progressive comedy show. The 12th is Political Vigilante Live, where Ron and I will, you know, talk about subjects, and then we'll ask questions. The audience can ask questions. And then we do the Political Vigilante game show, which I love doing. We do Sharia law versus state law. It's a lot of fun. Then we go to Boise, May 13th. And then we're going to DC June 12th. And we have New Haven, Connecticut on the 16th. The June run we haven't quite filled in yet, obviously, but check that out. So who's this? Yeah, Joe Biden made fun of millennials. He's an avocado toaster. Oh, wow. Really? A rich old white dude is crazy. I haven't seen, is there a... Progressing like spending other people's money. Oh, God. No. Progressives want the world to be better. I'm 55 and I never trash millennials. They are not indoctrinated like the old white baby boomers. That's funny. Yeah, I'm getting some. Soil is wealth. Nice. John Dickinson, thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles, guys. Shave them for justice. How did you, Ron, Jimmy meet and start working together? Well, Jimmy and I met doing stand-up comedy in Chicago back in the 90s. You know, we were just all young comics doing shows, and I met Jimmy and we became friends. It was like a group of us Chicago comics, and we all sort of hung out, and we all moved to LA around the same time. So I'd always been friends with Jimmy, and I knew Steph before her and Jimmy even started dating, because she was a comic that did the Acme Comedy Theater. And then Ron, I think, met Lee Camp or something and got referred to Jimmy maybe about a year or so ago and started working with Jimmy. And Jimmy was like, yeah, you got to meet this guy, Ron, man. He's a young guy and he's funny and he writes jokes for me. And he's really, so I just met Ron through Jimmy. And then it was last spring, I think, on Ron's, one of Ron's Get Your News On with Ron, one of you guys said you and Graham should do a progressive comedy tour. So that's how that all started. Yeah. And I started, it was like late November, early December of 2016 after the election. And I called Jimmy. I hadn't talked to him in a while, and I was promoting my film Earbuds and was like, hey man, can I come on your show to promote Earbuds? And he goes, yeah. And we'll talk about the election. And I didn't know, I just thought he had his podcast. And I can't tell if they're knocking on my door. But I'm gonna have to go soon. And then he said, are they coming in? Yeah, they are. Hold on. Anyway, well, they're across the, I can't tell. So that's how we started working together. And then I started, when I was on Jimmy's show the first time, and he started to tell me to talk about losing my house and what I'd been through and doing shows in Afghanistan. And I started doing his show a couple of times. Then he had me on Aggressive Progressive. Then he had me on a Jimmy Dore live show at Flappers. And I was like, well, this is awesome. So that's how that went down. There was another super chatter. Pop Reality, thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles. Should the deficit be seen more like receipts than an inherently bad thing? Messaging matters. Hashtag messaging matters. Well, if you watch some of my MMT videos, and I want to do more of the MMT videos, somebody emailed me that they're very virulently anti-MMT and they have stuff to say in defense of their position. I want to try to interview them to get a different side of it. But everything I've talked, all the stuff I've learned from MMT through Citizens Media and Fidel Kaboub and everybody has been great. So I don't think, as it was explained to me, the deficit is just more of a political tactic than anything else, if that understands it well. I would, and Jeff Epstein suggested this, and maybe I'll do it, is put all of my MMT videos on one playlist, like add an MMT playlist or something like that. And so people can just watch all of those videos. I think I'm going to start doing that, which will explain that better. So I hope that answered your question. It is more like receipts. It's just money they're pulling out of the economy. Boom, boom. I'm 56, and I tell my 18-year-old that it's just the old song. Every generation blames the one before. That's funny. Sinead, MSNBC sucks. I cut my cable last year. Good for you. Fernando Fernandez, pretty disappointed that most progressives other than Jimmy Dore have either been silent or against Tulsi for president. Seems like most are waiting on Bernie. Your thoughts? I think that's why I want to do more research on the Modi thing, because I want to make sure if that's legitimate or not. I'm beginning to think it is. I've been a fan of hers, but I'm going to ask real questions. I'm not going to follow, but there's so much, and go to her website and make your own decisions. I did a video on that, and And we'll see. And that's what a primary is for. Let's get to know this person. Let's see where they're at. There's a whole vetting process. What have they voted for? What has she voted for as a congressperson? Where has she gotten her money from? These are questions we should all be asking. Go to Vote Smart. Let's see where she got her money from. You know, because one thing I noticed when she's about pulling out of war, then that people smear her, which is that shows you that the war machine is going to be against her. So they're going to try to do hit pieces on her. And I would also look at, you know, cabinet votes. I would look at, you know, what she's voted for. Look at what she's voted for and where she's taking her money. When she said she didn't want to take corporate money anymore, she was smeared for that too. So I think we should really go through the vetting process. Don't just read one thing or hear something, you know, like go through and make a full decision on this. This is an important, this is maybe the most important presidential election we've ever had, because if we don't get a progressive in there, I don't know how things are going to change drastically. So that's my opinion on that. John, again, federal debt and state municipal household debt have practically nothing to do with each other, according to MMT. Therefore, we need a new word intro. Yeah. Yeah, we need to talk about that MMT because the federal government creates its own currency. A state or municipal government has to run a budget like you and I do. Money coming in, budgeted out on what we're going to spend. Do we go into debt? Whatever. The federal government can just create as much currency you want. Yeah, it is a nice hotel room. Look at that. Look at that couch. Isn't that fancy? First they came for the comedians, but it wasn't funny. Then they came for the chatters. Oh, that's either funny or you're being a dick. Hashtag abolish the Federal Reserve. I'm glad you guys like these Q&As. They're pretty rad. Normally I do an hour and a half, but I got to go. I got a 1 o'clock checkout and we got a flight to catch. So the biggest lobbies are the big banks, military industrial complex, mainstream media, APAC, etc. They will attack Tulsi. Yeah, and if they're attacking Tulsi, then that's a reason to vote for her, in my opinion. Just like if they're against her, then she must be doing something right. Pink Army, I want Bernie to run independently. He might do that. The conversation he might have had with Tulsi might have been, look, Tulsi, you run. And if you get screwed over, then you and I will run as independents. They're going to either push Joe Biden or Kamala down our throats. Trust me. The Democratic Party still thinks it's the 90s. They don't know what they're doing, and they're just taking their corporate money, and they're giving lip service to progressive issues, but they're not going to do shit about it. That's what they do. That's what they do. I did the video on 7 of the 14 Democrats that were assigned to energy subcommittees all take money from the fossil fuel industry. Joe Kennedy Jr., the third or whatever, is one of them. So it's just like, they are preposterous. I know which is the one I want. I want this. I almost started whistling the Marine Corps theme song. My uncle was a Marine. Derek Morris, thank you for supporting the show. Shave the knuckles. MMT can work, but we have to be careful not to inflate and debase the currency. It's too late. Unfortunately, it's already happened, and the rich have stacks. Yeah, no, it's true. You know, I think it's, first of all, good that we all learn as much about MMT and how currency really works, because we've all been intentionally misled on what it is and how the United States Federal Reserve actually works and what it is. And I want to get some more information on it and do a whole video on it. Derek, you bring up a really good point. And it's great that you are supporting this show, because it's like, this shows what what the information that is not being put out. That's why you guys are coming to YouTube for your news and your information, because the mainstream media won't even talk about MMT. You know, Stephanie Kelton, she was Bernie's, and it's crazy. So But you're right, MMT can work, and we do have to be careful not to inflate and debase the currency. Unfortunately, it's already happened in the rich have stacks. That's a good point, Derek. You say we have to be careful. That you say it's too late. I appreciate that, Derek Morris. MMT is a description, not a prescription. It's apolitical. Yeah, it's just describing what it is. Yeah, Derek Moore, the Federal Reserve is awful. They're a banking cartel. All right, guys, I got to run. I want to thank everybody. Please go to grahamelwood.com for any tour dates. Having his teeth cleaned, yeah. Kamala, all these people, they're trying to jam down our throats. You're very true, Sinead. Marcia Smith, MMT is how our fiat currency works right now. It does not need to be implemented. Yeah, it's just a description of how it works. Long live Gotham. You guys are great. Thank you for, I know, I didn't want to not have a super chat, so I just figured I'd do it earlier. So thank you, Ajit, for the support. Maddie Zubik, thank you. Francis Dion, Knuckles for Justice. First Last, Francis Dion again. First Last again. Beatrice Pierre, thank you. David Wint, boom. Natural Progressive, pow. John Dickinson, Knuckles. Pop Reality, boom. Derek Morris, again, pow. Pop Reality, thank you. Your new one is guys like Jimmy and you who fight for Black Lives Matter harder than Don Lemon help erode some of my own biases if I held against historically white people. Well, man, that's really cool. I appreciate you saying that, Pop Reality, because that's what this show is all about. You know, is breaking down. See, we've all been born and bred to live in these identity politics silos. I'm white, you're black, male, female, you know, like, and then it's designed for us to be divided. And then like, if I played identity politics, so I would have to be down with, because I'm an Irish guy, Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly, that doesn't make any sense. Those guys aren't in line with me at all. Jill Stein is more in line with me than, you know, Joe Kennedy Jr. I mean, give me a break, man. So I think it's, thanks, Pop Reality. That's what we're trying to do here, man. Unite people. Of all these shows we do, the progressive tour shows with Ron that I did last night and the night before, the live Jimmy Dore shows, I see who's at the show. It's all different types of people from all different walks of life, different ethnicities. There's a Syrian guy at the show last night. Oh, man, thank you for telling the truth about Syria. There was a Bulgarian couple there, you know, right? There's like older white ladies that you think, oh, they should have voted for Hillary. No, everyone's like, we're all on the same page, man. They want us to be separated from each other. So thanks, Pop Reality, man, for supporting the show and for saying that, man. And that's what we got to do. We got to break down all these identity politic barriers that keep us divided. Here's what I'm down with: holding abuses of power accountable, holding the powerful accountable. Any abuse of power, I'm not in favor of. It pisses me off. I don't like it. That's why I did my Me Too story, because I've had people abuse their power against me, and they just happen to be women, to dismantle that whole notion that, like, only men can abuse power. Look, we know Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and me saying that is not like an attack on women. It's to show that anyone can abuse power. Anyone can do it. And we need to call it out. That's what it's all about. So thanks, Pop Reality, for supporting the show and sharing your comments. I really appreciate everything that you guys, when you come on the show, it's really, you know, yeah, Bluebell 51. I'm an old Native lady. We got all different ethnicities watch this show. People from all over the country are watching this show. I mean, every different ethnicity, you know, in Miami is a lot of Latinos, all different types, Peruvian, you know, Dominican, all these different, like, they work out, man. There was a Russian guy at the show who was like, I'm so sick of everyone like judging like I'm the enemy. He's like, fuck, You know, it's just like, it's so cool to see, because it gives me hope that everyone's waking up, that there's just an injustice is an injustice, and abuse of power is an abuse of power. Black men getting shot, unarmed black men getting shot is awful. And then all these cops of all different ethnicities getting acquitted, it ain't right. It's not right. That's not right. It's just not right. There it is. I don't need to be this or that ethnicity or gender to just know that's not right. It's an abuse of power. And we need to get the cops on our side. Every time a revolution has happened, the military and the police got on the side of the revolutionaries. Anyway, I got to run. Who's Putin's body? You guys are fantastic. I got to get going. I got to bang it on my door. I got to check out. You guys have all been fantastic. Thank you so much for supporting the show. 104 people, 84 likes. That's so great. And I really appreciate everything, all your guys' comments and the discussions and the debates we're having. It's really healthy, and I like having. This is what a healthy democratic debate should be: discussion. I like Tulsi. I'm afraid of like having that. That's what we should be having. You guys are fantastic. So I'm flying back to LA later today. I'll be back in my studio, making my regular videos. And you guys are great. Thank you so much. And remember, let's make Gotham great again, Justin.